Just like with any movement, there has to be leaders, there have to be people that pioneer. That has been going on with atheism for a very, very long time. But now, finally, we're getting to the point where people are creating this message, but in mediums that approach a much broader audience. And I think YouTube is a perfect example of that. This is something we haven't had before. If someone had a message, they could write a book and hope that someone was in the store and bought it, or they could try to give it away and hope that people recommend it to other people to buy. But now we are in an age where you can create some content that gets to be broadcasted to a huge audience of people, which is an amazing honor, honestly, to be alive during this time. So I think that it's a huge waste for us not to use YouTube as a medium. YouTube has its own problems, but it's still an amazing platform, and if a better one comes to replace it, great. But for now, this is the best we have. It's very hard to pitch the message of atheism, I think, because I remember being a Christian and thinking that is for sure the correct message. And so if you know a one truth and you feel like everyone else should know it, you feel extremely compelled to tell people, to preach your message, to just grab people by the shoulders and shake them and be like, you need this. And so I think it's very important to be careful on either sides of this issue to say this is the absolute truth, there's nothing else, you're all idiots. I think is very dangerous because we don't know. We don't have solid scientific evidence that disproves God. I don't think that's possible, but I think it's important to encourage skepticism and logic in everything we do. And I think that that's going to be a big topic as time goes on, a lot more than it ever was up to this point. As far as YouTube atheism goes, the more content that's on the platform related to atheism, the better. It's not so much about getting everyone to agree, but it's about righting the wrongs of the current reputation, I would say even of just the word atheism. When I was a hardcore Christian, I thought atheists were like actually evil people, like people that worship the devil, people that were out to hurt me, just hated the world, and we see this trend. It's an even bigger topic for an entire different video of they are evil. They are the others. They're evil. We shouldn't communicate with them. It's bad to even think about the things that they're proposing. Especially in Christianity, it's very, very incorrect to ever question God or to challenge God. It's a dangerous thing to do that. Especially, I don't think a lot of people understand the amount of just ignorant Christianity that is in the world, and I represent some of that. A lot of people are hardcore Christians, but they don't really know or even really care what Christianity says in the Bible, what it says in the Bible, what it is trying to say and preach. We just care about what the pastor was saying, and it was just, God is good, he's here, he loves you. But then also what your pastor teaches you is just the whole world is against you. The whole world's out to get you. There's a battle going on in yourself. There's a battle going on out there. You have to arm yourself. Don't let them trick you. It's just a full world full of deception. And I think that's a common theme, but that works really well, is don't even consider other opinions because they're inherently evil and are created to trick you and are created to get you to think differently, and that's really bad. And I think that by fostering a better and more accurate understanding of what atheism, the word, and atheism, the people, really mean, what they're really about, what they really do, what they think, is our number one mission. Because we can't change people's minds. We can't make them say, oh, atheism, that makes sense, love it. That's never going to happen. But we can make a clear understanding or provide education around what we think and make that super easy to find. You'll never be able to shove it down people's throats, and we shouldn't. But the more content that's on YouTube representing accurately what an atheist is, why they care, what is their life goal, what does their life look like, what is it like to be an atheist, what does it mean, just give an accurate representation is going to be huge. And I think that's happening right now even. But I think that the more content that's on the platform that is pushing this narrative correctly, the more you're going to see atheism take over. I think that most people are born atheists, truly. I think you come into this world with no preconceived notions of what's right and wrong, and then you just rely on all your external sources to explain to you what's going on. And opposed to previous generations that mainly had their grandparents, the people in their town, just locally to rely on as external sources, now you also have the internet. But web pages and other medium are static, and they are out there, but as a kid especially, you're just so much less likely to stumble across and read and take seriously a web page. But if you are listening to someone talk, someone who sounds like your family, someone who maybe strikes you as someone that's worth listening to, worth really hearing out, it can really change your mind. It can have a big impact. I know that I pretty much was raised on the internet from a young age. There was just a lot going on in my house. It was not a healthy environment, so I just was very recluse into my bedroom and into my computer. And even though I was raised in this country place with unlimited Christianity, I was exposed to an amazing amount of atheism through my friends who I met online and just through YouTube and different things. And now at the time I was Christian. I was Christian with a lot of atheistic friends, but just having those ideas around helped me at least understand what these people thought. Not that I agreed, but to at least have an idea. It would blow my mind when they would explain something like their stance. Like, what's the point of life if you don't have a God? And then they would explain to me that, I think humans create their own meaning, in that sense there is no objective meaning. It's subjective, which is very freeing because you were your own person, find your way, do what makes you happy. And I thought that was ridiculous. I was like, wow, but at least I heard those ideas. And it wasn't atheists are out there doing evil things, something that's like just not even anything like what real atheism is. But not everyone gets that privilege, especially not everyone in the previous generations really got that privilege. And I think that there's no reason that all young people today shouldn't get that privilege. Especially, could be anyone listening to this in any part of the world, but in the Bible Belt of the United States, you feel like it's not just you who believes this, it's the whole world that believes it, because it's like every single person you meet is Christian. And so your whole world is Christian for a long time. But I think that kids these days are getting cell phones at such a young age and watching YouTube. I have, my cousin has some kids and they're like 5, and it's amazing because they're already on YouTube and stuff. It's at such a young age, which it's a double-edged sword. But in the case of this, in the case of religion, is extremely freeing, I think, to just have it out there. It's important to approach it as this is how it is, because I think if Christianity is going to approach it with so much confidence, I think we should as well, to at least for the people that do believe in atheism, that are humanists, that think that we are not overruled by a white guy up in the heavens that don't exist. You should say it with confidence. You should be like, this is what I think. It makes the most logical sense, truly. You're not relying on faith. You're not relying on hopes and wishes, and this sounds good and it makes me feel good to think about it. You're really relying on standard logic that we use for everything else in our entire lives. To sum up the video, we have an opportunity to have a huge impact on this generation and thousands of generations ahead by creating content that people want to watch, that is engaging, but is also educational. We saw that happen through all the science YouTube channels, which are incredible, but now I think there is a gap to be filled with atheism. And that ultimately is why I created this channel, was to be a part of this movement and to create content that is going to achieve everything we've discussed in this video. And I sincerely encourage you to do the same. I think that it does matter, it is worth doing, and if you've been thinking about it, you really should. It's really worth your time and effort. I sincerely appreciate you listening, and I hope you have an excellent day.